Hello everybody. Been a bit delayed this week for making videos. I've been on leave from my job this week. Filming this bit of a different setting today. I'm filming this from my fiance's house. This is the Lapa. So yeah. Let's get this video. I'll be breaking into 3 parts. So first one is reacting to Premier League Game Week 5. Second is reacting to Europa League Round 1. And the third part is my predictions for Premier League Game Week 6. So, let's jump into it. So, reacting to Premier League Game Week 5. So, first game, West Ham versus Chelsea. I predicted it would be a 1-1 draw. What actually happened is that Chelsea were quite comfortable winners. West Ham 0, Chelsea 3. Chelsea having a pretty good start to the season, it must be said, and West Ham are having a very poor one. Second is Aston Villa versus Wolves. I predicted it would end 3-0 to Aston Villa. What actually happened is that Wolves took a lead and then Villa had to come from behind, but they won fairly comfortably in the end. Ended up being Aston Villa 3, Wolves 1. Third game, Fulham versus Newcastle. I said this one would be a win for Fulham, 2-1. And I'm actually proud of that shout because it actually did end up being a win for Fulham. Not many people did back Fulham to win this, but it was actually even more comfortable than I expected. It was Fulham 3, Newcastle 1. Leicester versus Everton. I got this one absolutely spot on. I said it would be 1-1, and it was 1-1. Everton still without a win this season. Liverpool versus Bournemouth. I said it would be 4-1 to Liverpool. I got the correct score margin. Just the only difference is I overestimated Bournemouth to get a goal. And so it ended up actually being Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0. But as predicted by most people, quite a comfortable win for Liverpool and a very good start to Arne Slot's time at Liverpool. Only that one loss to Nottingham Forest out of their first 5 games. All right, next game, Southampton versus Ipswich. So, I said this would be a tight game, would be a 1-0 to Southampton, and it was looking like it was going to be going that way, but it ended up Southampton 1, Ipswich 1. I think it's a pretty okay result for both teams actually to have gotten a draw out of this. Next game, Tottenham versus Brentford. I got the correct score margin. I said it would be 2-0. What actually happened is a ridiculous first-minute goal by Brentford, but then from then it was basically all Spurs. And Spurs ended up being fairly comfortable winners at the end. But we had to hang on. We really had to hang on. And Vicario kept us in the game with some of his saves. Our relentless pressing and attacking and tenacity got us through at the end of the day. Goal from Brennan Johnson was his second of the week. And a first Tottenham goal for Dominic Solanke. And it ended up being Tottenham 3, Brentford 1. All right, Crystal Palace versus Man United. I thought this might be a sneaky result for Crystal Palace, getting a 1-0 victory. And yes, Crystal Palace did play pretty well. And I did correctly predict that they would take points off Man United. They just didn't take the full 3 off them. They took 2 off them. They still allowed Man United to get a draw. Ended up being a Crystal Palace 0, Manchester United 0. Second last game, Brighton versus Nottingham Forest. I said it would be a 2-1 sneak victory to Brighton. What actually happened is it was a draw. Ended up being Brighton 2, Nottingham Forest 2. Pretty good starts to the campaign for both Hussler and, must be said, for Nuno Espirito Santo at Nottingham Forest. They still haven't lost a game. All right, final game. Ooh, the big one. Manchester City versus Arsenal, and it was a very feisty game. Red card for Arsenal towards the end of the first half. Rodri off in the first 5 minutes, now with a season-ending injury. Tore his ACL. Arsenal parking the bus for the entire second half when they only had 10 men, literally just everyone in front of the goal. And then they thought they were pretty set for a famous victory there at the Etihad, which could be very important in their title race. But alas, guess what happens? Man City score a very, very late equalizer and pandemonium erupts, swearing erupts. Haaland gets angry. Gabriel Jesus gets angry. It all flies off. But yeah, very feisty. And you can see why these two teams are the top 2 teams in the league. They really did play like it. Arsenal played very boring football in the second half, but I guess that's kind of what these two teams showed why they deserve to fight for the title together, because they really can match each other at different points in the game. So, yeah, I think pity for City fans, with Rodri being out for the whole season. He's the best central defensive midfielder in the league by quite a bit, so that's a big loss for them. But hey, let's see. They played their first couple of games without Rodri, and they looked pretty damn solid anyway. And they played the rest of the match without Rodri, and they still were able to grab an equaliser and get take a point. So yeah, I think it's fair play for them. Well done to both teams. I think they showed why they're probably the top 2 teams in the league. Yeah, that's my reaction. So I did pretty well in these predictions. I've done pretty well the last 2 weeks, actually, because my first 3 weeks were really poor. But yeah, game week 4 and 5, I've really turned it a bit around. I've got some good results. Let's hope game week 6 also, I'm pretty accurate. Yeah, so that was my first part. Second part of the video, reacting to Europa League round 1. So I'll just be highlighting a few of the main results that happened here. So obviously the 2 British teams, Man United, Tottenham, who were playing in Europa League. Man United played on Wednesday night, Tottenham played last night, Thursday night. Man United got a very disappointing for them draw with FC Twente. They went 1-0 up in the first half, but then in the second half there was an equaliser halfway through the second half, and then it didn't really turn from there. And it ended up being Manchester United 1, FC Twente 1. So, yeah, Ten Hag, and that was with Man United being the home team. So Ten Hag has been hitting a bit of a poor run of form, but it makes me a bit nervous because Man United's next game at home is this Sunday against Tottenham. And, yeah, I just don't want them to pick now to be the time that they're really going to turn up. But let's see. We certainly did a better performance than them in the Europa League midweek than what they did. Tottenham were also at home, but we actually came out 3-0 victors over Qarabag. And we had a red card from 7 minutes in the game. So we literally played 85 minutes of the match with only 10 men. But you wouldn't have thought it, seeing how we played after we had that red card. I think it really just lit a fire under us, and we really just, as predicted, and even with 10 men, just kept attacking and pressing and attacking and putting in passes. And we could see our due dividends. We were clinical. I think we had less shots actually on goal than what Qarabag had. But Qarabag were very wasteful with a lot of their chances and had a couple of decisions not go their way. I think the decisions that didn't go Qarabag's way were fair. I think there was offside goal at one point. And yeah, the guy firing the ball over the post with a penalty from their side was silly. That could have really turned the tie game if it was 2-1 at 58 minutes. Then you got 10 men, you're only holding a 1-goal lead again, and then you start feeling pressure. But, 10 minutes after that guy missed his penalty, Solanke slots in a third. It's 3-0 now with just over 20 minutes left to play, and then it becomes really difficult. Son came off a bit of a muscle strain at around the 69-70 minute mark. He had like a mild limp going on. We'll have to see how serious that is. I'm praying, crossing fingers. From what I could see, I don't think it's going to be super serious, but it might be enough I think it will be enough to keep him out of the game against Man United this weekend, and maybe even 1 or 2 weeks from now. We'll have to see though. I think we'll probably have to play Werner on the left wing against Man United, but let's see. Son can be quite a quick recoverer, but maybe I expect him to not be playing against Man United on Sunday, definitely, Son. But yeah, good performance. Johnson got his third goal within 8 days. Third goal within 8 days for Brennan Johnson. Third consecutive game of a goal. Opened up our scoring just a few minutes after the red card, which was really important for us. Solanke got another goal, second in 2 consecutive games, and he provided an assist for Johnson's first goal. So a really positive game for him. And these last 2 games have been really positive for him. I think he's been fitting that relentless pressing role that Ange wants. And he even does help out of the team dropping back down into defence sometimes, using his height to his advantage. And we did see a bit of that against Qarabag. So good play to him. Almost lasted their full match, got taken off, I think, with 10 minutes to go. Good shift from him. And yeah, I hope I was really impressed with his performance. So yeah, and then some other results, Lyon beat Olympiacos. There was but nothing really too fanciful from those results. Yeah, Man United and Tottenham were really the only two I paid like very close attention to from the results. But I was impressed with Tottenham's performance, especially considering they went down to 10 men. I felt sorry for Lucas Bergwall that he had to be the one sacrificed because of Draguzin's red card. I think he could have had a good time in this game, but hopefully we'll be getting to see him a bit more in future Europa League games, and possibly even some good game time in the Premier League games. I think he'll be decent. And yeah, the final part of the video is my Game Week 6 predictions. Alright, first game, Newcastle versus Manchester City. I think Man City have been cupping some very narrow, tight results recently. I think this will also not be an overwhelming win, but I think it might be a little bit better than what they've been accustomed to within the last week, 1 to 2 weeks. I'm going to say it's going to be Newcastle 1, Manchester City 3. Expect the robot Haaland to grab a goal. Second game, Chelsea versus Brighton. Chelsea, I'm getting a bit concerned about. They're having some really good form going. They're having some good goal scoring. Things seem to be clicking a little bit there. I don't want them to get clicking too much, because then if you look at the quality of some of the individual players in their squad, if they really get to start clicking and getting a good system going, it could be a bit dangerous. I think Brighton is going to come undone here. I think they're going to lose this game. I think it's going to be Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. Third game, Brentford versus West Ham. I think Brentford are actually the marginal favourites in this game, given how poor West Ham's start to the season's been. I mean, they got thumped 5-1 by Liverpool in Carabao Cup on Wednesday. So yeah, I mean, you need to. That was a bit embarrassing for them. So yeah, I think it's going to be. I actually think it's going to be a draw this game. I think it's going to be Brentford 1, West Ham 1. Okay, fourth game, Everton versus Crystal Palace. You know what? Everton are at home. I think they're going to get their first win of the season here, but they're going to just nick it. I'm going to say Everton 1, Crystal Palace 0. All right, fifth game, Arsenal versus Leicester. I think it's going to be pretty easy for Arsenal. One-way traffic. Arsenal are at home as well. I'm going to go for comfortable Arsenal 3, Leicester 0. Sixth game, Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. I think Forest and Fulham are going to play out a pretty entertaining draw here. I think Nuno might extend his unbeaten run. I think Fulham and Nottingham Forest don't really look like they have just enough quality to get that win in this game between the two of them. So I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for Nottingham Forest 2, Fulham 2. Seventh game, Wolves versus Liverpool. I think a lot of people are predicting Liverpool to just run absolutely riot with Wolves, but I don't think so. They historically tend to have pretty tight matches. I'm actually going to go for a victory for Liverpool, but not super convincing. I think they've been running very hot with the amount of goals they've been scoring since they lost to Nottingham Forest, but I think now they might be a little tired. I'm going to go for Wolves 1, Liverpool 2. All right, eighth game, Ipswich versus Aston Villa. I think also pretty much one-way type traffic. Ipswich being at home will give them a bit of a lift. But I think, Watkins, Duran, Onana, those kind of guys, going to get them the victory. I'm going to say Ipswich 0, Aston Villa 2. Second last game, the big one for us Spurs fans. Manchester United versus Tottenham. I'm a bit nervous given the forms of the two teams. Tottenham have won 3-3 now, and Manchester United have, they've won one. They've drawn one. Won one and they've drawn two. But now they're playing Tottenham. Sometimes teams can turn it up if they've been having some poor form against recently. And then suddenly they play Tottenham and now they're looking like prime Real Madrid or prime Barcelona. So I'm a bit worried about that. Could I see Tottenham getting a win here? Yes, I could. And it wouldn't be a convincing one. I think this is the kind of game where I can easily see it being a draw, or I can see one team just nicking it by one goal. And I'm actually going to go for a nick. I think a team actually is going to win this. I think there will be a nicked goal. And yeah, I hope I'm wrong on this one, but I think I'm actually going to give it to Man United. I really want to be wrong, though. I hope the score is actually the reverse of what I'm saying. But my prediction, my honest prediction here is I'm going with Manchester United 2, Tottenham 1. I do think Solanke or Johnson or Madison or maybe even Werner, one of those will be able to score a goal. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's tough. And Ten Hag, really, his job is under pressure now. I think they might just be able to edge something out here just to keep their team going and to keep Ten Hag in his job. So I'm a bit worried. I'm going for Man United 2, Tottenham 1, but I really hope it's the other way around, actually. Okay, final game. Bournemouth versus Southampton. Yeah, I think Bournemouth are going to be pretty comfortable winners here. I'm going to say Bournemouth 3, Southampton 1. And yeah, those are my Premier League predictions for Game Week 6. So let's see how we do. I'm hoping Tottenham can get a sneak victory against Man United. But yeah, let's see how it goes this weekend. And as always, come on, you Spurs.